So this is my third video on the VR web. If you want to find out more about Firebox, just go to my previous 2 videos and you can find out more there. So in this video, what I've got here is actually a time lapse of me editing and adding information to room 45. I just want to show you the workflow in general for creating the virtual room. So you can see that what I did first of all was kind of look at the examples. And you can see me doing that, and once I got it into the room I started changing the colours and things like this, just to make sure I understood the controls from within Firebox. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to construct kind of a human shape, and so what I did was then I imported this man into my room, and I started using them in the room. So the reason for this is that scale, as you all know, is massively important in VR. So you need to make sure that everything you make is going to be correct scale or realistic scale. So having these guys inside the room will just help me confirm whether or not things are the right size. Once I know that I've got the guy the right size, what I can then do is when I'm modelling in Blender, I can use this guy as a reference. Correct. So what you can see here is I'm trying to make the sofa and make sure that I can fit 3 people on. If I know that it's about the right size compared to the guy, then I know it's going to look about right inside the VR room. So yeah, you need a few modelling skills if you want to create your own assets, but I think there's going to be a lot of content you can find out there. So you can see what I've done now is I've kind of referenced that couch from my VR file, and it appears within the room. You can see it's this kind of plain colour, but that's because it doesn't have an associated texture with it. What I'm doing now is go through a process of unwrapping. So I've not done it for a while, so I just made sure I could unwrap this cube properly. And the reason why you want to unwrap is you need to go through this process in order to get textures to map properly onto your 3D objects. So a cube is a great thing to start with because it's simple. Put this texture against this cube and doing some more testing. I reference it again within my VR file, and you can see that it's successfully displayed. Once that was working, I decided I was a little bored, so I actually went around Lee's server and I basically opened every single room on the server. I think it probably did slow the server down a bit, but it was interesting to see what everybody else was doing and just fly around the place. I also found out my neighbour putting up loads of pictures of women in lingerie, which is surprising. Anyway, I then got back to the modelling, and what I've done here is I've used the same technique to get a texture for the actual sofa. So I've unwrapped it and then I've chosen this fabric texture. And I mean, this just shows why it's important to really experiment with your materials, because when I put it into the virtual room, it was just awful. It really made my head spin. It's kind of like watching one of those, it's like looking at one of those Magic Eye pictures. It was pretty bad. So I tried different things. I kind of blurred it out a bit. I changed the colour just to see how it looked, and nothing was really working. So what I then did was I created what's called an Occlusion Map, and it just shows the shadows of the 3D objects, and that actually works quite well. That's the run through of the room, and as you can see here, I decided to slow it down so you can see what the room looks like now. And finally, I'm just going to leave you with this final clip just to give you a feel for how big this thing could be in terms of scale.